Well, good afternoon to you all. It's lovely to see you. I hope that I can be heard. You can? Great. And my panelists should be somewhere. Great, you can hear me. Well, it's wonderful to see you all this afternoon. My name's Lee Sublet. I'm from Alumni Affairs, and like everybody else, it is my pleasure to welcome you to KAUST, both physically and virtually. I hope that you've been enjoying the last couple of weeks of orientation. So I realize that we're getting towards the very pointy end of orientation being over. So I promise the next hour is going to be a good conversation with some of KAUST's alumni. So I run KAUST's alumni office, and we have around 2,000 global alumni, and we've got 4 alumni who are joining us this afternoon to talk to you about things they wish they'd known. So things they wish they'd known when, like you, they started as either a master's or PhD student at KAUST, and things they might talk to you about doing differently. So we have Nadia, Ahmed, Hussain, and Jian, who are calling from throughout the kingdom and also internationally. So I'll throw to them in just a moment. But you probably wonder why Alumni Affairs is here to talk to you when you're brand new students. Well, given that you have undergraduate degrees, no doubt you're in touch with your university's alumni office, and so we too are here to support you while you're students, as well as once you leave KAUST. And the way in which we do that best is through our incredible community of alumni. So the alumni community is very much here to support those of you who are studying through their advice, through their mentoring, and through guiding you academically and professionally. Some of the events that we in Alumni Affairs organise are events that students can participate in. So as an example, in June, we had a virtual alumni networking event where 4 alumni who have just started work with NEOM in Riyadh spoke about their careers and the transition from being a PhD student to now working in their dream jobs at NEOM, and students were able to participate in that. So quite often throughout your academic journey, you'll be invited to either connect in person, when that can happen again one day, and virtually with our alumni community. So today's session is meant to be informal. It is meant to be interactive, and typically when we do this at orientation, it's an opportunity for you as our new students to ask the alumni who you're about to meet the sorts of questions that perhaps you might only receive appropriate answers from somebody who has been in your shoes before. So I'd like to now introduce Nadia, Ahmed, Hussain, and Jian to introduce themselves. And I'm hopeful that I'm going to go directly now to Nadia.
Hi. Hello everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Maybe just a little louder, Nadia.
A little louder, okay. Yeah, so I'm Nadia. I did my master's and PhD in KAUST, and I graduated last year in plant sciences. I'm currently now in Ireland, where I'm currently doing my postdoc at University College Dublin in Dublin.
Great. Ahmed.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well? Okay. So my name's Ahmed Chipley. I did my master's at the American University in Cairo under the KAUST Fellowship. So I was lucky enough to be chosen to do my master's there in collaboration with KAUST when it was first starting. I got the chance to go to KAUST actually before it was entirely built, so I saw it from scratch, and that was amazing. And then I did my PhD in marine science in KAUST, class of 2015. And then after that, I went on to Prague and Berlin to do some filmmaking, something I've always wanted to do. So I waited after I finished my PhD for that. And then from that to Liverpool to do a short postdoc. And from there, I settled in Abu Dhabi, where I am at the moment at New York University, Abu Dhabi, doing my postdoc in marine microbiology.
Great. Thanks, Ahmed. Now, Hussain.
Hi, thank you, Lee. What a wonderful opportunity to meet this elite group and have the chat this afternoon with them. I'm Hussain Chipley. I graduated from KAUST in 2013 from electrical engineering, especially signal processing. Before that, I worked with SABIC, Saudi Basic Industries, and currently working with King Abdullah City for Atomic Renewable Energy, mainly in renewable energy focus in Riyadh.
Thanks, Hussain. And Gian, over to you. Do we have Gian Pan on the line?
Hi, Lee. I'm interrupting. I haven't seen Gian. I don't find him in the participants. I'm not sure if he's come online yet.
All right, no problems at all. We might go straight into our first series of questions then. Thanks, Catherine, for that. And just once again to give our students the opportunity to say, when you've got a question, Catherine is facilitating those questions, and so we're going to hand over to Alumni to answer any of the questions that you might have throughout. So you send them in as you need to. Ahmed, I might start with you. If you had your time over again as a student at KAUST, as a PhD student at KAUST, would you do anything differently in approaching your graduate studies that you did when you were here a number of years ago?
Okay, so that's actually a really great question, and I've never thought about it before until we talked recently. If I would restart, I would restart knowing that it is okay that things don't go according to plan. This is very important. I mean, we're already going through tough times, and none of this was planned. So at some point in the KAUST journey, you will have a proposal and a clear outline of things you want to do, but things can change. Sometimes those changes are not in your own hands. For example, if you pursue a more interesting result than the one you already had, so you're changing a little bit of what you're going after, or sometimes it's not in your own hands, where you would find other groups doing highly similar work. And so I would restart with that mindset, because at many points in my PhD career at KAUST, I was very frustrated that things were not going according to plan. So it is important to keep that in mind. Along those lines, when you approach research, I would go in with a clearer vision of what I want to do next. I was not always, but I was most of the time in the moment. So I'm focusing on this experiment, I'm focusing on this year, I'm focusing on the courses or the classes. But if I would restart, I would go beyond that and look at what I want to do next in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And this would mean directing my studies, my choice of courses, my extracurricular activities, even my networking channels. I would direct those towards my end goal, whether it was academic or industrial or corporate. Those are a few things that come to mind.
Great. Hindsight's a brilliant thing. Thanks for that answer, Ahmed. I might jump to Nadia to answer this question now. So Nadia, if you were to come back to KAUST and do your master's and then your PhD all over again, would you do anything differently than you did before? Because keeping in mind you came to KAUST from University College of London, where you completed your undergrad, and then Nadia, you came here for your master's and stayed on for a PhD. So what are your thoughts around how you might strategically think differently if you were a grad student today?
Sorry, I was muted. So from two different aspects. So from an academic point of view, I would like reiterate what Ahmed just said. So it's kind of start early, planning things early, take advantage of what KAUST has to offer, like start going to career fairs, even like from the beginning of your PhD to kind of have a feel of what's out there. And definitely networking is important. And then from the extracurricular kind of aspect, which I wish I did more of. So when I first did my master's, I started at KAUST and I kind of hit the ground running. I just participated in everything. I was on the graduate council, I was teaching Arabic, I had an SRSI student. And then that kind of slowly faded midway through my PhD, because I was like, okay, maybe I should just drop everything and just focus on my research. But I think I should have had like a balance and kind of kept going on with those activities and had more of a life-work balance. So like people should also, like you new students should also consider that just when, okay, yeah, I've got this paper to write or I have to finish my PhD, still have like a hobby that you can hold on to.
And Nadia, both you and Ahmed have said, go to career fairs, network. You know, we've got many new masters and PhD students who are listening in. If somebody's not even considering work or a job yet, why would they want to go to, say, the career fair that's coming up in October so soon in their grad school journey?
Is the question directed at me? Sorry.
Yes,
yeah.
Nadia.
Yeah, it's just, again, to have a feel what you can do after your PhD, because when you're starting so young, if you're from your master's or PhD, you're kind of not even sure if you want to stay within research or if you're more business minded. So it's good to have a feel, just to know what the job market is like in Saudi or internationally. So even though you're not interested in getting a job right now, I think it's definitely good to start from early. And then also towards the end of your PhD, you'll find you've got 6 months to write your thesis, and then the time is up. You know, you because looking for jobs is also a full-time job. You really have to kind of have a sense of what to expect towards the end of your studies at KAUST.
Great. Thanks for that response. We do have a couple of questions coming in, and I think before we throw to the questions, I'm just going to hand over to Hussain now. Hussain, can you tell us about your thoughts on whether or not you'd approach grad school at KAUST differently if you were to be amongst this batch of students? What advice might you give? What thoughts might you give?
Thanks, Lee. First of all, I would accept your offer to go back to KAUST, definitely. And there are many things really to benefit from KAUST. And I joined the previous session from Sandra about cultural differences. And this is one really critical example about the richness of opportunities that you will be offered by KAUST. I think KAUST is a treasure of resources that would be very difficult to utilize because of the massive amount of it. And speaking of doing things different, I think what I would encourage everyone is do as much as you can. You have a major objective, which is getting your degree, but in the same time, you have multiple opportunities that you need to benefit from. Nadia, Ahmed talked about networking. I think as we speak now, I'm receiving several private chats that shows how people are interested in networking and actually building up on the opportunity they have. And studying in KAUST is an interim phase of the lifetime of the individual. So you have to utilize it, but in the same time, you have to do other exercises in parallel for your lifelong opportunity. I know many studied to get their degree, but at the same time, they were busy focusing in the degree and they less focused in their, for example, career future or in building skills in other fields. I think in KAUST, you would have a major opportunity offered at your disposal from the different faculty members, from the services, from every opportunity when you look at the winter enrichment and other activities that will really, really enrich you as individual and will make of you a greater value to yourself, your community, and your country.
That's great. I think leading on from your question, sorry, your answer, Hussain, we have a question from one of our students. Did the KAUST network help you find your current position?
Yes, definitely. I did my career interview in KAUST, and KAUST facilitated major things and efforts in bridging between the career after KAUST and the opportunities that could be availed to the students. And I think, at least as I remember, I think still there, every semester you have a career day or a career fair that will help students to get jobs. And in addition to that, it's not only having a job interview, but also you are going to sharpen your skills to be ready for job.
That's great. Thanks for that, Hussain. We are now we are now joined by Jian Pan. And so before I hand over to Jian to introduce him, a question for any one of our four panelists. We've got a question from Hassan. So a response from anybody. How did you choose between the industrial track and the academic track? And I suppose that question could be directed at you, Hussain, or even Jian, because both Ahmed and Nadia are still pursuing the academic track. So the question again from Hassan, how did you choose between the industrial track and the academic track?
So I'll start, and I think, Hassan, that there is nothing specific that is better for you except what you feel is more suitable for you. And once I joined K-Care and before that with SABIC, I did interviews with many graduates, potential candidates to be employed, and some of them better fitted to continue their career in academia, others for industry. I think if you are focused and directed approach for specific practical solutions, you will be more toward industry. And if you are looking for innovative, beyond boundary solutions, it's more to research or academia specifically. And I think the bridge between academia and industry is coming together more and more as we go in time, as there are many practical solutions now under investigation in academia, directly sponsored by industry. So make sure through your studies you get full exposure to both so you can make your best choices.
Great. Thank you for that response, Hussain. I'd like to welcome Jian Pan to the panel and put Jian very much on the spot by answering that question, just giving a sense of how his network is not only helping him professionally in China, but as the president of the China Alumni Chapter, he is working incredibly closely with KAUST's very large Chinese alumni community, both in China and throughout the world. So, Jian, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Lee. I'm sorry that I just launched the website very late, and very happy to see our new students of course. And currently I'm working at an enterprise which is collaborated between Zhejiang University and the local government. And my specialty is on the water and wastewater treatment. So currently I'm also the president of the China Alumni Chapter of KAUST Alumni. And for the previous about, I think, 2 years, we held several meetings for the talented people. Most are our alumni, experienced alumni, who want to share their expertise with the local government, local entities, and also the big industries such as some listed companies here locally around Hangzhou city. As the questions that you have mentioned there are for the career in the future, either in the academia field or the industry field, my personal view is that it depends on the interest of personality, and everyone may have their own opinions. For myself, after I graduated from KAUST, I went to King Abdullah Petroleum Studies and Research Center and worked for 2.5 years there as a senior analyst for policies, especially on the policies of environment policies. For example, the emission policies for gas, the policies for carbon dioxide, or the policies for the climate change, such policies. And after I worked there for about 2.5 years, I found that maybe I would like to do more on the real industry, because when I grew up in China, I have a lot of friends, or especially the friends around me, including my family. They did a lot of things related with the real industries, which means that we have to produce a lot of things, a lot of products for the human's daily life. And this is the direct help for our human beings. So I switched my career from the policy analysis to the real industries, which I am currently working on, the wastewater treatment as well as the potable water treatment. So that is just my route. I think everyone has their own opinions and also their own routes. So just for it. So Lee, thank you.
Thank you, Jian. That was a great response. We have got questions coming in thick and fast, so I'm going to just jump straight into one of those questions. And Nadia, I want to ask you this question because I think it's most relevant to you and perhaps Ahmed. Is it easy to find a job in Europe, as you've gone on to do with your postdoctoral fellowship at the University College Dublin? Is it easy to find a job in Europe for KAUST students and KAUST alumni? Nadia.
Yeah, I think it's definitely fairly easy. So I was lucky. I got the job through networking. So that's why networking is very important. And I also know lots of KAUST alumni who moved to Europe as well for jobs. It's definitely possible. Yeah, and I think if you just know what you want to do from early on, or figure out what you want to do, you just start trying to contact those companies or those universities as soon as you can, so they know who you are.
Great. Thank you, Nadia. Now, this is a question for any one of you four, and in fact, you might want to all answer this one. Somebody has asked the question, what do you guys recommend not to do in KAUST, and what not to miss? So, Ahmed, since I've got you on my screen, what do you recommend not to do and not to miss?
So what not to do would be not to miss out on all the opportunities that KAUST is going to offer you. That's a very general answer. Um, but I do want to say that it is feasible to do a lot at KAUST given the diversity of the research themes and the willingness of everyone to share their knowledge and collaborate. So what not to do is definitely do not take it for granted, do not miss out on opportunities, and what to do is to delve into a bunch of things that you that might not be directly related to your field. I know this sounds strange, but it's something that I have learned throughout, like by the end of KAUST and throughout my postdoctoral career, is to try and delve into something that is a little bit far away from your main research. It will help you. It will broaden the way you think about things. It will give you insight. It might actually help you solve one of the problems in your own research. So in general, just read a lot more papers outside of your own field, ask a lot more questions, network with people who are not directly in your field because they can set you up with other people who are. And so that's something to definitely do. One other thing would be to, for example, audit classes, even if they're not directly in your field. I would definitely advise on doing that.
That's great, Ahmed. Thank you so much for focusing on entirely the academic side of things. And I don't know if the student who has asked this question was asking from a recreational perspective, but I might actually hand over to Nadia because Nadia has finished her studies most recently at KAUST. And I know, Nadia, you were talking earlier on about some of the things that you did recreationally and as a volunteer while you were here. Nadia, can I just throw to you to respond to the question about what do you guys recommend not to do in KAUST and what not to miss?
Okay, so what not to do is that a lot of people go to KAUST and we're always trying to find people that are similar to us. So people form groups that are in this, like, so the Saudis would always be with the Saudis and the Latins would stay with the Latins. And I think like we should make friends from other cultures because it would be a much more enriching experience. And yeah, so don't just try to always stick to what you know or what's similar to you. So experience something different. And what not to miss, I really, although I've never participated, I do enjoy the yearly talent show, so like don't miss that. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and those are the two things. Yeah, just again, like the graduate affairs hold so many events and they do so many things, so just try to take advantage of what they have to offer from a non-academic perspective.
Great, thank you for that, Nadia. And one of our alum who's participating in the background, Eamon Amir, said, don't miss the fishing. So anyway, there are loads of things to do, and I'm very conscious that watching today, there are so many of our students who haven't yet arrived at KAUST. So we look forward to welcoming you here, and until such time as you get here, there'll be a lot of virtual offerings, including those that our alumni are speaking at. But look, the questions, as I say, are coming in thick and fast. I want to move on to the next question. What about research and development as a compromise between academia and industry? And Gian or Hussain, that might be a question for both of you to respond to, or one of you. Gian, I will start with you. What about research and development as a compromise between academia and industry? Gian? Okay, Gian might not have heard me. Hussain, are you able to talk about research and development as a compromise between academia and industry? Maybe with a foot in both camps.
Yeah, I wouldn't say compromise, because actually we need all the three of them. And the innovation cluster in CAUS, for example, it's an excellent demonstration of research development where the industrial needs comes with research capabilities and produce an excellent outcomes. And actually, in many cases, even when we go to industry after CAUS, there are many opportunities. I saw them in reality, bridging the gap between their new industrial career path and their previous research efforts in CAUS, where you could build on that. So in CAUS, you have to focus on your academia and at the same time, make sure you get the right exposure needed to industry. And therefore, once you are at a decision point, you have a full picture in that. You don't have to decide now, because now you already decided to pursue your degree, and I think that's an excellent choice, just not to mess your current decisions with your future. So you don't have to be stranded with your decisions. You made the right decision to pursue your degree in CAUS. Make sure to maximize that outcome through exposure to industry and making sure that once a decision needs to be made, you are ready to make that decision. I would say, when you go to CAUS, don't miss also diving. I missed it, so don't do as I did.
Yes, yes. Red Sea is a must. Not that I dive or snorkel, but that's what a lot of alumni do say is one of the transformational things outside of academia that they have the opportunity to do here. We've got several more questions. I might focus on PhD studies and look both at Ahmed and Nadia. Ahmed, I might start with you. What should be the mindset of anyone starting a PhD? Are you able to speak to that? Because you came to KAUST as a PhD student, and you know, share with us what your mindset was when you came here. Ahmed.
That's a great question. So the mindset that I had starting was very, I would say, naive, or maybe naive is a strong word, but I thought that it would be go in, get organized, read the research papers, write a proposal, and go on with your experiments. You get results, you write your thesis, and so that's not how it goes. And not that this is a bad thing. This is actually a positive thing. It doesn't have to go according to plan. So the mindset would be flexible, be open, collaborate, and just direct it towards what you would like. Like I said in the beginning, you'll start off with a clear vision, but then at some point it's like a roller coaster ride. At some point that vision is going to get blurred a little bit. You're going to get frustrated, but then with the backdrop of everything at KAUST being so open to nourishing the students, it would be easy for you to come back at it and go on with your PhD. So yeah, I hope that answers question.
I like that terminology I've met about KAUST and its staff and the surrounds being able to nourish our students. That's a really nice way of reiterating that there is a great deal of support available. So thank you for that. Jian's internet isn't stable, so I won't call on him for Mariam's question. I might just any one of you who might want to speak to this, because I think it's a really important question she asks, which is, how do you decide on a research or thesis topic?
Sure, I can.
Thank you, Nadia. If you could take that question, that would be great.
I'll take that question. So I don't know if you're doing a master and you're rolling over to a PhD, which similar to what I did. I did directed research. So I did go to a few labs each semester before I chose which professor I wanted to work with and which topic I was interested in. So if you are if you have the opportunity to do that, I would do that. I don't know if KAUST actually still does directed research. That was so long ago. Yeah, and then if you're not, it's basically choosing what you're passionate about, like what subjects you might be interested, and you can propose that to your professor and see if they would agree to it or not. Yeah, that's my 2 cents that I can put in.
Right. Well, look, while you're giving your 2 cents to Mariam, there's another question, Nadia, that I think you could answer because it's very similar. It's actually about 4 different questions in one. What do you advise a student to do to narrow down their range of options and focus on a specific area? And what directs this decision? Is it the work one wants to do after studying, or the country that they'd like to go and work in potential growth fields? Given that you were a student in England and then you came here for your graduate studies and now you've gone abroad again, are you able to speak to what helped you narrow down the areas that you wanted to work in?
Yeah, so I think this is still an ongoing process because you grow also throughout your PhD. So you could start having one mindset like, yes, I really just want to pursue the academic track, and then later on towards the end you might change your mind. So I think you should really take advantage from the career office, because they help you with your CV, they help you with directing. Also, I think they prep you for interviews and kind of help you kind of deciding on what kind of aspect you would like to pursue, and then just do exercises with yourself. So what I did towards the end of my PhD, I made like lists of what I would want to do. So do I want to work with data or writing, or within a team, or by myself? So it's kind of really just deciding on what skills you would excel at and what you want to do. So it could be based on a country, or yeah, it's kind of, you have to set your own goals really. Yeah.
All right, great. Nadia, thank you for that. Gian, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. I've got a question for you. And I mean, you were part of KAUST's founding class, so I know that you can answer this perhaps. So Gian, are you able to speak a little bit about KAUST and its opportunities for those who are wanting to work in the startup area? Somebody asks, what does KAUST provide for the purposes of launching a startup? Would you like to just speak to that and speak to alumni you know who are working in the startup field?
Yes, I think as a student, either KAUST, the master students or PhD students, they should have opportunities to apply for the startup fundings. I think it should be called the seed fundings from should be the economic department of KAUST.
Yes.
And
yes.
that is the funding for students or the professors to incubate their own technologies. So I think any students would like to have the startups in the future, they can try their best to apply that seed funding first. And also through this funding, they can create some prototype of their products. For example, in wastewater treatment, they can use such funding to produce or to set up a prototype for the wastewater treatment equipment. And I think that is a very good opportunity for the students to have some basic idea of what a startup can do in the future. And that is the opportunity for the students at KAUST. And for the graduates, I know that there are several graduates from KAUST, especially in China, our alumni, Chinese alumni, who have their own startups. And also including myself, I have a small company which produces the catalysts for the wastewater treatment use. And currently in China, we have a lot of policies, including the policies for similar with the seed fundings, the government can provide you with some startup fundings, maybe several hundreds of thousands of RMB for the startups. And also they have policies for the talents. You can buy the houses or the other things with the allowance from the government. Take my small startups as an example. We have we set up the small company in 2015, and we got fundings from the government for the incubation of technologies, for introducing talents from overseas, and also we have some fundings for example, the matchmaking projects, and also it is funded by the government. All of these activities can help our startups grow from a small company to a relatively bigger ones.
That's great. Jian, thank you so much for that. And to our student who asked that question, the ecosystem at KAUST for anyone who is wanting to take advantage of starting up their own company is quite diverse and incredible. And so do please take advantage of that. And I'm sure you've had the opportunity of meeting virtually Hatan Ahmed, who is in charge of the Entrepreneurship Center. Many of our alumni have gone on in the last couple of years to found their own companies and are doing that full time, or are working full time and running their companies in a similar way to Jian. And so we will throughout the year have the opportunity for students to engage with our alumni community, both at KAUST and also internationally, who are working in the startup area, because that is certainly a career path, or entrepreneurship is a career path that many of our alumni over the last 3 years have gone into. So it's fairly exciting, and I can attribute that all to KAUST. Now, I've got a question for... Exactly. Yes, thank you, Jian. Yeah. I've got a question for... Yes, Jian.
Sorry to interrupt you. Mm-hmm. And I have also an idea that if any students at KAUST have their own ideas of any startups, they can contact with me, because in China there are several, currently there are several kinds of, or several activities related with startups. They can come to China to join, for example, some meetings or conferences, and they can share their ideas with for example, the other peers, or to find the investment from the local government as well as other big companies if they are interested in Chinese markets in the future.
Fantastic. That's great, Jian. Thank you so much for that. I'm wanting to hand over to Hussain now for a question from Mahmoud. And Hussain, Mahmoud asks, how competitive are KAUSTians among their peers worldwide in terms of productivity? And Hussain, given you're very networked amongst our alumni community, both in Kingdom and internationally, and given you travel a lot in your world of work, I thought you'd be best to handle that. Hussain.
Thank you, Lee. And actually, we just, in this short time, we talked about several ways to pivot to industry, or to continue in academia while studying your master or PhD in KAUST. And those diverse options, considering that KAUST community already small. So we are seeing a massive and diverse impact from this small group already by the cases and demonstrations and options that we are just talking about them from reality perspective. And I could easily name several industrial leaders that I know, they are KAUST graduates, they are in several positions, whether in kingdom or outside the kingdom, that they have a major role they are playing there in that country development. And actually, this is why their career path is still in early stage. They are there maybe for 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 years maximum, and they are making a major impact. I think Gaussians are very competitive, and this advantage coming from several reasons, starting from the elite selection of the candidates to study in KAUST, and ends up with the opportunities that being offered in KAUST and the dedication from KAUSTians really to get the necessary exposure. They excel in the depth that they wanted, whether business side or academic and scientific side. So no doubt KAUSTians are very competitive, and I see them thankfully everywhere, and I'm happy and proud to be.
Great. Thank you, Hussain, for that. We've only got time for one more question, and I really want to get this question in for Jeremy. And I want to ask you this question, Ahmed, because I know that you and I have spoken about this exact subject, because we're wanting to put together a future alumni panel where this is in discussion. So Ahmed, the question from Jeremy is, in corporates, I've heard from many recruiters that they don't like to hire PhDs due to overly specialized skills compared to bachelors and masters. Ahmed, what are your thoughts on that based on your travels around the world and also your networks amongst the alumni community of KAUST who have chosen both sorts of fields? Ahmed?
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a tricky question, I think, because on one side, it is relatively true. A lot of the companies or recruiters would rather get a bachelor's degree person or a master's, and then they would, it all falls back to how much they're gonna pay them. And so obviously the more qualified you are, the more you get, the higher your salary. And so a lot, when I was finishing my PhD, and I was open to everything, to academia, to industry, and I just applied to everywhere. And this is one of the things that I was told from inside companies, that they would probably give priority to a bachelor's or master's degree over that for the salaries. On the other hand, as a PhD graduate or a person who got the PhD, you're looked at as a person who's able to identify a problem and finish it and finish solving it from A to Z. So because you finished your PhD, this is how recruiters look at PhD holders. They're people who are able to identify a problem and then solve it and troubleshoot and solve it from A to Z. And so a lot of companies also want that. They want someone who's able to solve problems, to troubleshoot, to have an idea of how to just take a project and finish it entirely. And so these are my thoughts on it. It is true, but it also depends on the recruiter. So you will find recruiters who will prioritize master's and bachelor's degree, but you would also find recruiters who would prioritize PhD students. This all depends on, I guess, things like the economic picture at the time, the funds, what recruiters are looking for, obviously the job position, and so it's a matter of being open to all kind of scenarios in this case.
Right. That's great, Ahmed. Thank you. And just so that Jeremy knows, this is a question that a lot of our students ask, and it's been interesting to see the career path of a number of our alumni over the last couple of years. With a PhD, many I've known have recently gone into careers in consulting or into industry. And so we will be having a virtual alumni career panel at some point where this exact topic is being discussed. The other thing, Jeremy, and for other students who are interested in this particular topic, tonight, for those of you who would like to connect to the KAUST alumni social media, tonight on Facebook at around 7:30, we will be doing a do-over of an alumni conversation that we recently had with Ala Ezzedine, who is one of our PhD graduates in chemical science, and he works for KPMG, and he is speaking about this exact topic. So we need to wrap up, and I want to give our speakers one final opportunity to say their final word. And I'll start by saying to our student community, we in the Alumni Office are here to facilitate your networking opportunities with our global alumni community. And these sorts of discussions we will be continuing to have throughout your studies here at KAUST. And you've given us a lot of food for thought about the sorts of virtual networking engagement topics that we need to be having in the next couple of months. So we'll make sure you're invited to those. Don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I'd be very happy to put you in touch with one of or all of our 4 panelists today or other alumni. We are here to help. So that's it from me. Thank you, everyone. Very quick last words, starting with you, Nadia, to our students.
Yeah, I think just essentially to just enjoy your time in KAUST. There are so many things to do from academic point of view, such as internships and career fairs, and then from an extracurricular point of view, there's like photography, diving, lots of free meals every now and then. Like just I think really, yeah, just enjoy yourselves.
Great, thanks, Nadia. Hussain, last couple of words from you.
I would say the most precious thing that you have now after being accepted to KAUST is your time. So make sure you utilize it fully and spend it wisely.
Right. Gian, last couple of words from you, Gian. We might have lost Gian again. Ahmed, can you say your last words?
So I want to say that time flies at KAUST. It's an absolutely wonderful place, and time flies when you're having fun, right? So it will act as a catapult for your career, whether you choose to remain in science or not. So use it wisely and use everything you can. And given the tough times that we're going in, I just want to say that my prediction for you guys, for the new batch of students, is that you will be more resilient and you will be more flexible and you will make stronger connections given how you have started this journey together. So I wish you the best of luck.
Great. And with those words of wisdom and Gian's unstable internet, I'm going to say thank you to our speakers and thank you to our students. Wishing you all the best, and we look forward to talking to you again. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.